Hey, welcome to an all-new Smash the Like. I'm Jim Kunkel. Appreciate you joining me tonight. In continuing the theme of 2023 resolutions, what I wanted to cover this evening with everyone is a couple studies, and then from Motley Fool, a report that they put out regarding top financial resolutions that you should make for 2023. Now, before we get into this survey done by the principal and also talk about the article and the information that Motley Fool put out, if you could do a favor after the broadcast, in the stream description and also post it to comments, I have a link for coffeebrandcoffee.com. You can help support this content, my content, and all the live streams I do and podcasts by purchasing some premium quality coffee, tea, and more from Coffee Brand Coffee by using the special link that I provided for everybody. So let's go ahead and get into this principal retirement security survey that was conducted in November of 2022. The principal focused on a couple things with this retirement security survey, and they routinely do these surveys. The first thing they focused on was regarding the 2022 holiday spending, and then it dovetailed into the 2023 New Year's financial resolutions that people of multiple generations, and I'll go through the demographics on this particular survey that was done, the breakdown on that. But what they did was they focused on exactly, what are some of the financial resolutions that people are going to be looking at going into 2023. Recently, I had read reports. Now, again, I don't know how official this is. This is more insider information, I would say, regarding online ads for the holiday season, that some of the revenues for social media sites and some of the streaming and broadcasting services, that some of the spending was almost cut in half. So it seemed like a lot of companies kind of anticipated that this holiday season in some sectors was going to be very light. I believe it was yesterday or today, an announcement from Amazon shedding 18,000 jobs in the tech sector. So we're still seeing the tech sector scale back where other sectors are hiring. So it's a mixed bag when it comes to the economy. But what I wanted to do, let's go ahead and we'll break into this methodology. So this was an online survey that was conducted, quick 7-minute by principal, run through November 14th through November 27th of 2022. And of the 667 individuals, which is a very good sample group when it comes to respondents, 8% were Gen Z, 14% were Gen Y, my generation, which is Gen X, 25%, and 53% of boomers. So the qualification for it, you had to be at least 18 years old, and then you also had to contribute to an employer-sponsored retirement plan, or that you own an IRA or a mutual fund. Hey, Vladimir, how you doing? Good evening. And with this particular breakdown on demographics, we have here locations and generations. A high percentage were baby boomers. And as you can see, the age range is from 19 to 76. 27% were retirees and 73% were workers. Now, let's go ahead and get into some of the findings from it or conclusions from this. 6 in 10 respondents felt that inflation is a major concern during this holiday season, and approximately half have a major concern with the potential for an upcoming recession and their own financial security. Now, for holiday spending, just over half of respondents were planning to spend less than last year during this holiday season. 40% plan to spend the same amount of from last year. And for those that are planning to spend less than the prior years, nearly 9 out of 10 plan to purchase fewer or less expensive gifts or cut people off their list. Hopefully nobody watching this tonight got cut off a list. Nearly half of the respondents have had set a budget for holiday gifts. 2 in 10 have been saving for holiday spending throughout the year. It's a very smart move there. And a quarter were going to wing it, managing their money this holiday season. And I had read reports that credit card debt has been on the rise, and that's usually not a good thing to carry debt into any new year. Sorry about this. There we go. How you doing this evening? Nearly half of the respondents, 48%, plan to spend less than $500 on gifts this year, and 46% plan to spend over $500 on gifts this year. Nearly 6 in 10 plan to use cash to pay for holiday gifts, and half plan to use their credit cards for purchases. Only 3% plan to take a 401k or 403b loan for their holiday expenses. Not a good move. You really don't want to be tapping and borrowing out of 401ks or 403bs, your retirement plans, because of taxes, and also too, when you're going to have penalties as well. Now, from the principle, when it came to New Year's financial resolutions and 2023 concerns, the theme with the New Year's financial resolutions is focused on respondents getting their household finances in order. The top resolutions are focused on spending less, saving more, paying off debt, creating or updating a personal budget, and creating a will, trust, or estate plan. Top concerns heading into the new year are centered around rising inflation, the stock market, impact on retirement accounts, and economic uncertainty. There are also concerns on increased healthcare costs and political uncertainty for some. So when it comes to concerns, it's the stuff that we've been reading about and hearing about. Now, I don't want this conversation that we'll have this evening to be anything of, doom and gloom. I think it's very wise for everybody to be prudent, and also to understand exactly, what the economic tea leaves are showing out there right now globally, also nationally here in the States, and just have a good understanding, because if you understand the landscape and what is in your immediate future, you can adjust accordingly and plan accordingly, because you never know what could happen at any given time. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the financial New Year's resolutions. Motley Fool, which I really enjoy. They're not a sponsor, but I really enjoy what they put out when it comes to information. And they do have a lot of good due diligence and resources for people. You can subscribe to it. A lot of the stuff they put out there is for free. So I'm not a subscriber with it, but I do really get a good idea of what is coming, and what are some of the general conditions out there in the financial markets. This was actually updated yesterday. I had posted last night this stream for tonight, and they had gone and they actually did an update from prior to when I saw it. Now they went from 5 top financial resolutions you should have this year to now it says 8. So this is an interesting read. Creating resolutions is a time-honored tradition for a new year, and for many Americans, resolutions involve finding ways to better manage money, according to a survey from the Ascent. 66% of Americans will make financial New Year's resolutions this year. Unfortunately, far too many of those resolutions made in the financial New Year will be abandoned by March. And that's the hard thing, I think, with resolutions. A lot of times people focus more on, I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to work on my weight. I'm going to work out in the gym. I'm going to be a better person. And those are great to have as resolutions. But sometimes what happens is a resolution starts off at the beginning of the year, and by springtime, we've abandoned, if not most of them, in some cases, all of them. So being strong-willed and persistent when it comes to sticking to your resolutions, just as much as you do in your professional and your personal goals, you want to make sure that once you have them set, you need to really have discipline and stick with them. But as it goes on here in the article, it says, not sure what types of financial resolutions could have the biggest impact on your life. Check out these 8 goals that investment experts recommend. See if you can adopt any of them as your own. And Karen, welcome. Happy New Year, sir. So the first one is, let's go down here. There we go. Reviewing your long-term financial plan. With inflation surging this year, it's easy to get caught up in trying to cover day-to-day expenses and end up in credit card debt. And that's a lot of the things that I've been reading with the increase of credit card debt and also people taking loans. I mentioned earlier, there was a percentage from the principal study where you had people who were tapping into their their 401ks or 403bs, their retirement plans. And again, when you do tap into those and take loans out of them, it triggers penalties, and also you have tax issues that can arise. So you want to make sure it has to be a desperate situation when you tap into your retirement accounts like that. But if you find yourself focused on the present, resolving to consider your long-term goals, just the ticket to turn things around in 2023. As it says here, I like my clients to begin the year reviewing their budgets and their financial plans to make sure that they're on track to meet long-term financial goals. Another suggestion that this representative had here, he said, starting with the year-end statements provided by banks and credit card companies, see where your money is going and identify areas of overspending. After making sure you have a budget in place that prioritizes investment, and also she advised maximizing contributions to retirement plans such as your 401k or a Roth IRA. When you sit down and you look at your expenses, look at what is coming in and what is going out, and you want to chart that out to take a look at where are some of the areas. Recently I seen a program with a money manager with a grad student, and I was just amazed on how much Uber rides that the grad student was doing, but also instead of going to the grocery store and doing food prep on his own, he was using a lot of the different services out there, that the Door Dashes and things like that, and it was just really racking up a lot of expenses, and he was actually paying for a lot of his expenses from getting loans for his post college degree, for his master's degree. As a graduate student, he was using those loans to help pay some of his bills, which is, again, not a smart idea, because once you're out of school, the interest kicks in, the payments start kicking in, and the more you borrow, the more you're going to end up paying. The second recommendation is get started investing. And some people, why I'm 56, I've had people that I've talked to mentoring younger, and they say, well, I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s, it's too late. It's never too late to start investing. But as it says here, the current economic conditions may have you wary of investing right now, especially if you're just getting started. What was listed here, what was provided here by Melanie Hansen was that she urged investors to aim for a distant goal like retirement or paying for a child's college tuition, and to invest in diversified, proven assets like index mutual funds. The important thing, and I'm not giving any financial advice, and I'm sure Motley Fool here, they're just giving some recommendations and things like that. But the important thing is to simply just get started with compound interest. Your money will grow faster and faster over time. Even economic times make a rocky start to it. Compound interest, baby, you're right. That's the whole thing about it, is when you're looking at investments, you really have to look and take advantage of some of the things out there for children. And, I have 2 adult daughters now, but where I was able to pay for their college tuition up until when they went for for their graduate degrees. And I currently have a daughter going for her PhD, is to put money into some of the TAP programs, the state programs that have money that you can put into the college tuition assistance programs, where you put it in and you're buying college credits today that can be used into the future. It really made a huge difference because we didn't have to borrow any money. And anytime if I work in sales, and anytime you have a windfall, you're rolling money into that. The same thing when you have a windfall, if you're in some professions where you have, you're making commissions or incentives based on your performance, take that money, roll it into retirement. A lot of times it's tempting for people to not invest, take their money and buy the beach house, buy the extra car, the sports car, the motorcycle. Those are great to have and everything like that. But at the end of the day, your goal should be making sure that when you hit your retirement, that you can actually live and you don't have to continue to work until your last day. So investing, get started. It's never too late, but it's, again, discipline. You have to stay committed to it. You have to look to the future. You have to stay true to making it an easier life for you while you're still in good health. You can generate the income. You can make the money. You can still have fun and live on a budget, but put that money away as best you can. So I like this here from this statement. 66% of Americans are planning on making a financial New Year's resolution for 2023. Now, it's a high number. And again, are planning, the word, operative word in here is are. It hasn't said 60% have made a financial New Year's resolution for 2023. And that, again, that's the hard part. Number 3, earn your employer match. This is something I definitely take advantage of where I work at. If you don't take a full advantage of your employer's retirement plan in 2020, if you didn't take advantage of it in 2022, you missed out. And now you might want to resolve not to make the same mistake in 2023. Robin Brashears, Executive Director for Sales, Service, and Support at Arvis Bank, calls company match essentially free money. It's true. It really is. Brashears warns that many people cut back on retirement investment and hoard cash during times of economic certainty, a mistake that can jeopardize your future financial security. The one thing you want to realize about cash is that we're actually into doing currency that is not based off the gold standard. So we print money, and view taxes as a way the government pulls in. Now, when you have state and local governments, they have to live within budget and collections and things like that. They just can't print money. But here in the States and even some countries, money can be printed. So what happens in this fiat economy is that the only way to deal with inflation is through taxation. So it's a balance. There's a lot of money right now that is in the market out there that the government printed. They got to pull back on that. So what do? They raise interest rates when it comes to the federal rates. Taxes, they start talking about raising taxes. There's the government some months ago had to put through to hire all the IRS agents. Okay. They've kind of put that on hold for now, but they haven't rescinded that. So there's only a reason why they're going to hire thousands and thousands of IRS agents, because they're going to be going after taxes, collections, to be able to pull the money back out of the market, out of the economy. And the only way to do that is through taxation, because they just print it. They print it. Doug, let me see here. Yep, right here, Doug, I agree. Remember the rule of 72 and invest. That's a good rule. So please take advantage of what your employer has as a match. Don't pull money. You're not going to be able to stuff it in your mattress, because what's happened is inflation is a taxation on everybody, because now you need more money, more cash to be able to buy something. Look at what things cost 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, and look where they're at right now. Rudy, consider a Roth 401k, pay taxes now. That's a good way to look at it too. I like that. That's really good. So let's get back to this here. You just have one chance to max out your employer match each year. And the matching funds your employer provides when you contribute to your 401k can provide up as much as 100% return if your company matches your contributions on a dollar-to-dollar basis. If you make just one financial wellness resolution this year, plan to not leave retirement money on the table. That is so true. When you have an employer, and they're doing it because they're trying to maintain quality workers within the company, and the way to attract them is offer other extra incentives above and beyond pay. And that's through healthcare. That might be through some additional perks that you get. But the one that companies take advantage of, because it's in their best advantage, is to do these matches. And then if you decide, well, I'm only going to put so much in my retirement, and not max out that match, you are leaving money on the table. That's free money. So please take advantage of that. Number 4, be smarter with your cash. When focusing on personal finance issues and developing your investment strategy, it's easier to get caught up in looking at what you'll do with the money in your brokerage account or in different types of retirement accounts. As a result, the cash you keep or you're keeping as a savings account may go unnoticed. Now, it sounds like this is this advice from Jamie Hopkins, managing partner, Wealth Solutions at Carlson Wealth, and the author of Find Your Freedom, could help guide you towards a resolution to make better choices for your liquid assets in 2023. I like this part of the article. One thing I would push on everyone as we enter the new year with an investment and financial, let me see here, 1 second here. There we go. Pushing your new year from an investment and financial planning standpoint is to be smarter with cash. Hopkins say, since money market funds and banks are paying extremely low interest, make sure that you aren't carrying much more cash than you need to right now. Also look for alternatives such as certificates of deposits and ultra short duration treasury. And these are the exchange traded funds, the EFTs. They may be a better choice to store your cash heading into next year, generate more yield, and leave you better off overall. Although you need to make sure that your emergency fund is accessible in case of an unexpected expense. There's nothing wrong with optimizing your savings and trying to earn a little better return on investment to help your wealth building efforts. The other thing too, I always say when you're looking at different positions that you might have, and this is stuff that I work through with my broker. So, when I look at investments, I work through the advice of a broker. But in addition to that, I like to do trends and look at trends when it comes to what are some of the funds that I have been putting money into, what are some of the sectors, let's say. And, when you look at recessionary times, the staples are typically good when it comes to healthcare, medical, even, companies like Procter and Gamble. People are always going to be buying, health and beauty products and certain medical products and things like that. Those are some of the things. So look at some of these things that might be recession proof. One of the things that, I've been concerned with is investments into some of the alternative. We're looking at some of the changes that are happening with the electric vehicles. We're starting to see some of that, concern when it comes to stocks tied to some of these new technologies. Maybe this isn't the time to be wrapped up into that. But again, do your due diligence. I'm not giving any financial advice, but always understand exactly what are you getting involved with. If you have access to some type of financial advice, consulting, or you have a broker, please take advantage of them because, as professionals, they do have a lot of that good background when it comes to mitigating risk and also to due diligence and things like that. Number 5, stay the course with your investment. For many investors, recent market volatility has been hard to handle. That's why it's so important to resolve to commit to your retirement or investment strategy and stick with it, even over bumps in the road. And that's what Jason Moser, a senior analyst and lead advisor at the Motley Fool, has done. When we had the decline in 2008 in everyone's money markets, everyone's retirement accounts, brokerage accounts just took a nosedive. And that happened to myself and my wife, where we had huge losses that happened. We didn't panic. We stayed the course. And we had already had an investment strategy at that time. Unfortunately, because of what happened with the mortgage-backed securities, man, it dragged everything down. And so 2008, you had a housing crash. You had everything kind of crash. And it was a big, hard recession, very hard recession. But if you stayed the course, you recovered. But there were a lot of friends of mine, I remember, that basically were, just changing their investment strategies and some of them really to their detriment. So I think when you do have a certain financial course, you need to really stick with it because, you arrived at that decision or you work with someone to arrive at the decision. You really need to stick to that. As it goes on here, one resolution I always like to set at the beginning of each year is to see if I can go the entire year without selling any shares. And again, when you start seeing that market go up and down, it can get a little concerning. And sometimes you want to, I need to sell what I got. I find that when I approach each year with this mindset of avoiding selling, it also encourages me to think a little bit more about the stocks I want to buy, making sure that I'm confident in my analysis and commitment to owning for years as opposite to quarters. Let's see what Doug said here. I like dividend stocks over tech stocks that don't pay dividends. Yeah, we see a lot of the challenges when it comes to the valuation of these tech companies, and that could be concerning as well. We have companies that really aren't turning profits, but for some reason their stock prices are through the roof. It kind of reminds me of the .com days, if you remember the .com companies that went stock, and they were worth a lot of money, but for some reason they just didn't seem to turn a profit. And as everyone knows, we had that .com bust that in the 90s that wasn't very good. So although Moser adds that he'd make an exception if he really needed capital for expenses, his commitment to adding to his favorite holdings as opportunities arise is a resolution everyone should consider adopting after a buy and hold strategy has historically proven to be the best way to build wealth. Number 6, make tax efficient investment a priority. Let's see what Rudy says here. Don't try to time the market. Keep emotions separate from your trades. Rudy, 100% I agree with you on that. The other thing too is, as those when your quarterly statements come in and it's going to be a bad quarter, maybe don't open them up right away, or open them up and don't have any reaction for a couple hours, because the heat of the moment, you're like, okay, we got to get out of this. We got to do something different. Yeah, Doug, you remember the .com bust. I remember that too. It was absolutely crazy. But it's just, we have those boom and bust cycles that happen. And a lot of pump and dump went on during that time frame, if I remember correctly, that caused a lot of the problems. So, with smarter investing comes more profits and taxes on those profits. You can resolve to make smart moves that minimize the cut of the IRS, the cut that the IRS takes. Adam Nash, former Wealthfront CEO and co-founder CEO of Daffy.org and adjunct in personal finance lecturer at Stanford University, suggests for making smart year-end tax moves, including implementing a tax loss harvesting strategy. Interesting. As Nash notes, tax loss harvesting allows you to offset gains from earlier in the year by selling selected stocks at a loss to lower the amount of capital gains taxes. This is what companies do all the time. They might have business units, they might have business operations that are losing, and that's an opportunity to take advantage of those losses. In some cases, they might spin those businesses off and sell them, and then just take that loss. So there's a lot of ways to kind of look at how to offset. This is just one of many potential strategies you can use to reduce your tax bill. Nash also suggested estimating gains and taking the time to explore options to lower tax liabilities before the end of the year. Although thinking about taxes may not be at the top of your list of fun things to do, resolving to make 2023 the year to focus on tax reduction efforts could help keep more of your gains in your pocket. If you aren't sure where to start when it comes to tax reduction, this is where a financial advisor can help. And again, here's another from the study. Paying off debt is a goal of 53% of Americans with financial resolutions. Number 7, and this is an important one, start a healthcare savings account. Now, coming out of the pandemic, I think a lot of people really kind of looked at health savings accounts. In the market information that I read, it seemed like there was a bigger upswing coming out of it. But when you are, as it says here, seniors who are at an increased risk of ailments, who may need to be on a who are going to be on a fixed income that can't easily cover medical bills. To make sure that your retirement isn't derailed by unexpected medical expenses, it makes sense to follow the advice of Shobhan Roy, Chief Operating Officer and co-founder at the benefit solutions provider Lively. Now, what was recommended is resolving to start saving for healthcare in 2023. While 401ks and IRAs are more widely known for retirement savings, not as many are prepared for health expenses. Saving for healthcare now and into the retirement should be everyone's New Year's resolution. The recommendation is to invest into a health savings account, an HSA, since these are portable accounts, often important tax advantages that aren't available with most types of retirement accounts. HSAs also do not mandate a required minimum distribution as a 401k and IRA accounts do after age 72. You need to have a qualifying high deductible health plan to invest in an HSA. Although if you're eligible, you can still create a dedicated savings account earmarked for medical expenses. So the health savings accounts are very important to have, and they come in a lot of advantages. I know for me, I am in a high deductible plan with the HSA, and it really does help kind of balance out where I'm paying a lower health premium because the health, I'm only going to the doctors for maintenance, routine checks, and then I take medication for maintenance. So if you don't need to have a high expensive plan, take advantage of a lower plan, have that HSA, have that money in there to help you offset those deductibles and expenses as you go through your annual year on your health care. Number 8, put your estate plan in place. Investing is about building wealth, but you also want to make sure that you have plans in place to protect the assets you've worked so hard to acquire. If you don't already have an estate plan, you're falling down on the job, and you should resolve to make one this year. 70% of Americans don't have a will. Having an estate plan is critical. I would also say having a living will is also important as well. But it's critical for helping you leave behind a legacy for your loved ones, as well as to the causes you love, says Allison Lee, Director of Trust and Estates Content at Free Will. When we think of a will, we're thinking of leaving something that will take care of final things for us. And then obviously, unless you're a mega wealthy person, you're typically the most average person is not leaving a lot of money to their family, but it's also important that you're not burdening your family members when it comes to expenses and dealing with the estate. Now, Lee recommends completing your estate plan while you're in good health rather than being forced into a rush estate planning process when your health is already in its declining stages. So, what are some of the goals that you should set in the financial new year? As it goes on here, each of these 8 resolutions could help you to improve your financial wellness, but ultimately you need to consider the state of your own finances when deciding what goals to set, whether it's paying off personal loan, credit card debt, improving your financial literacy, boosting your credit score, or becoming a better investor. You should set a goal you believe in and then hold yourself accountable. In business, we all set our SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Take that principle and apply it also to when it comes to your financial resolutions for 2023 and beyond. And start, as it says here too, start thinking about the future. Don't think about just this year, but think of the long-term future. All right, everybody. Well, if anybody has anything else to post, this is the time to do it. I appreciate this opportunity to have a conversation with you, and I'll look to do another live stream on Smash the Like on Tuesday evening, and I'll have to find a topic. But if you do have any topics that you think would be kind of cool to talk about, please reach out to me either on LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel, or you can just email me at jim@jimkunkel.com. Again, that email is jim@jimkunkel.com. Rudy, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody that was on the live stream tonight, and have a good rest of the week, which is one more day, depending on where you live at. You're either already into the weekend or you have one more day before the weekend kicks in. So everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Tuesday evening.